Hello, I'm here to talk about the life of Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on the 15th of January 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. Interestingly, he was named after the original Martin Luther, the initiator of the Protestant Reformation. The young King received his early education at Booker T. Washington High School. He excelled there, being allowed to enter Morehouse College at the tender age of 15 without even formally graduating from high school. He graduated from Morehouse in 1948 with a degree in sociology and enrolled in Cross Theological Seminary in Chester, Pennsylvania, from which he graduated with a degree of divinity in 1951. The civil rights leader Howard Thurman was a profound influence on the young King. Thurman had met with Gandhi and he arranged for King to meet with the Gandhi family in India in 1959. The trip was to greatly influence King's thinking, confirming his dedication to nonviolent resistance. The civil rights activist Bayard Rustin further counseled King to confine his struggle entirely to non-violent means. In 1955, Claudette Colvin and Rosa Parks were arrested for refusing to give up their bus seats to white passengers. In 1957, King was one of the founding members of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which was created to organize the black churches into mass protests by non-violent means. King would lead the movement until his death. King was a victim of an assassination attempt in 1958, while signing copies of his book, Strive Toward Freedom, in a Harlem department store. He was stabbed in the chest by a Isola Curry and narrowly escaped death. It didn't swerve him from his vision. He continued to work tirelessly, organizing and leading civil rights marches. In December 1961, King and the SCLC became involved with the Albany Movement, a group which had mobilized thousands of citizens in a wide-ranging non-violent protest on all elements of segregation within the city of Albany, Georgia. King was scooped up in a mass of peaceful protesters. He declined bail until the city made concessions. Agreements were made and King accepted to be released, but the authorities rescinded on all their promises. A similar campaign was embarked upon in Birmingham, Alabama in the spring of 1963. It was more successful. The movement had learned from its past mistakes. The SCLC lent its influential sway to similar protests in St. Augustine, Florida and Selma, Alabama in 1964. King was also one of the prime movers in the August 1963 massive March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. However, resistance against the civil rights movement and its goals was still fierce, as evidenced by the violence meted out to protesters on a series of attempted marches from Selma to Montgomery. King and others began to realize that they would need to spread the movement further. They knew they needed to go nationwide. That is, they knew that they had to motivate the north of the country. They began this phase of their resistance in Chicago, where they met equal if not more ferocious opposition as they had in the South. In 1968, King and the SCLC organized the Poor People's Campaign to address issues of economic injustice. King began to travel the length and breadth of the country in order to assemble an army of multiracial supporters to march on Washington. Towards the end of March, King arrived in Memphis, Tennessee to support black sanitary public works employees. Horrifically, he was assassinated in the early evening of April 4, 1968. However, they could not silence him. His legacy ensured the progress of civil rights in America and indeed throughout the world. Thanks for watching. Please click the link in description for more information.